going on, guys? Mr. Fremgen here, and as you can tell, I'm not in the classroom today, so I'm bringing you today's lesson through a video that you guys can watch. And not only do I think that continuing to work on our projects even though I'm not there is a good thing, but having this process of creating our new worlds and working on this project we've been working on, having this done through a video is definitely going to help you get through the project that much easier. So it's kind of a win-win. So let's take a look at what we're going to do today and how we're going to take our designs to the next level. I know that a lot of you guys have been putting together your new worlds, you're putting together your own little world with all of your layers, and maybe you have all the requirements as far as the number of images I've been asking for. And you guys have been asking me, how can I turn it in? But we're going to do a little editing to make it look a little bit more believable, bring these pictures together, and make things just make sense a little bit so it doesn't look like just a bunch of pictures slapped on a background. So I want to bring some connectivity, some connection between all the pictures and bring it together. If you look at our Schoology page, you'll probably find this video right on the top of all of our notes. Excuse me. You'll probably find the video there, but the video's obviously not there yet because I'm making it right now. But below the video, you're going to see all of these notes. And we took these notes yesterday, if you remember, so if you have them, you can take them out and you can look through them as we make some edits today. I'm going to show you my project that I've been working on, and I'm going to walk you through these tools here in understanding adjustments, adding and blending shadows, and altering color. So today we're just going to focus on adding and understanding adjustments. So we're going to work at one thing at a time, so we're just going to focus on adjustments today, but watching me do this and watching me go through the steps is probably going to make it a lot easier to understand, especially since I'm not there today. So let's open up these notes together, whether you're opening them up digitally, maybe you're watching this from home, or if you're going to follow along using the handwritten notes that you wrote down. Either one is going to be just fine. So understanding adjustments. We briefly talked about this when we took notes, and these are just individual layers that we are going to be adding to our project. As you know, we have all these layers, all the cutouts that you've been making, all of the different layers you've been adding, but these are a different type of layer. These are called non-destructive layers because we're changing the original state of the photos in your picture. We're changing the way that they look, from brightness to color, creating photo filters, all different types of things we can do. We're changing the original state of it, the original way that it looks, but we're not permanently changing it because they're going to be their own layers. If you look at this little screenshot here, you can see we got a cutout layer here, another layer here, but then these are adjustment layers. We got these things called like curves, levels, hue, and saturation. There's tons of different ones, and we're going to look at some of the basic ones today. But these are what adjustment layers look like. They don't have a picture attached to them because they're changing the other types of layers. They're changing the original state of them and what they look like. So adjustment layers in Photoshop, there's a little adjustments box, but we're also going to take a look at how Photopea does it too, because it's a little bit different, so we'll get a view of both in this video. And as we scroll down a little bit, you're going to see that you can actually do a couple things with adjustment layers. One thing you want to keep in mind is that adjustment layers only affect what is below it. So you look at this screenshot again, these adjustment layers are not affecting the layers that are above it. So when we add adjustment layers, we need to make sure that the layer is sitting above the layers we want it to affect. And if you want the layer to affect only one of your images, there's actually a way to do that. And there's some tips right up in here, but I'm going to walk you through that, especially when we get to that part. I'm going to walk you through it live in this video. So this is adjustments. We're going to take a look at how it works and what it's all about. And so I'm going to jump over to Photoshop first, and then I'll repeat the process in Photopea. They pretty much translate the same for the most part. So If you want to skip over to the Photopea section of this video, you can, or you can watch the whole thing because it might help you understand just a little bit better how they work. So here's my Photoshop window. Here's my art. You're going to see the exact same art in Photopea here in a minute. And you can see here are my layers over here. Okay, we have this dinosaur here on the ground. He kind of just looks like he's been slapped on the background here, so we're going to try to fix that a little bit. We've got this dragon in the sky flying around, and we got this little planet out here in the sky, so it kind of looks like maybe this is in outer space, but prehistoric with dinosaurs. It's a little trippy, but it's an imaginary world. Things don't have to make sense. This is where your creativity comes in. So we're gonna mess with some stuff here. If we go over to the right side, we have an adjustments box. So you can see here, I'm gonna bring this up a little bit so we can see. We've got these adjustments all in here. Photopea does not have this box, so I'm gonna show you another way of getting to it. So if you're using Photopea, you can see that there is another way of getting to it as well. So we do have these options here, but since some people are using Photopea, let's check out the other way. So since we're making an adjustment layer, we're going to go to Layer at the top, and we're going to scroll down to where it says New Adjustment Layer. All these options here are the exact same options that are in the box over on the right, but we're going to do it this way because this is how Photopea looks at it too. So we've got like brightness and contrast. I don't expect you to understand what all of these different words mean, but let's look at some of the basic ones. We got brightness and contrast, so that will brighten up some pictures or darken them. We've got exposure. Remember that word from our photography unit, so that's also the brightness or darkness of a photo, so kind of it does a similar thing to brightness and contrast. Vibrance. That's going to draw out the colors of everything, so it's going to make things more vibrant in color or less vibrant. We got hue and saturation, so it's another way of doing that as well. So that's kind of the same thing. Hue is just another word for color, so we're just altering the color of some of the layers in our image. And then you got things like photo filters and things like that, which we'll take a look at a little bit later. Maybe not in this video, but we're going to focus on some of the basics today. But first, let's see what we need to change about our picture. Okay, so we've got this dragon here. I'd say the dragon can be brightened up a little bit. It's a little on the dark side. But on the opposite end, this dinosaur here on the ground is a little bright and bright green. So we can maybe darken it up and make it look like it's actually a part of this world a little bit. Okay, so we can do some different things here. We can also change the color of the sky. We have a purple sky, but we have a red ground. So maybe we can change the sky to be a little more red, or maybe change the ground to be a little bit more purple, whichever one we want to do. Let me show you how to do some of that. So going over here, I want to change the dragon and make the dragon brighter. So I'm going to click on this dragon layer over here, and what I'm going to do is go up to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and choose Brightness and Contrast. I want to brighten this dragon up. So if I click on it, it's going to give me this little window, hit OK. And you can see now we have a brightness and contrast layer. Okay, so it's not like the other ones, it's a little different, but you can see we have some sliders up here that go along with it. So when you have this selected, it's going to show you some options. We can change the brightness and the contrast. Okay, so if I start sliding this brightness up, let's see what happens. Okay, it's brightening everything except for the dinosaur. Why? Why is it brightening up everything but the dinosaur? That's because the brightness and contrast layer only affects what is below it. Okay? Only affects what is below it. So the dinosaur is above it, so it's not getting affected by this. But I just want this brightness and contrast layer to only affect the dragon and nothing else. Let's go over to our notes really fast. We look here, it says right here, If you want to attach it to only one layer, we can use a simple keyboard shortcut. So you will hold Alt on your keyboard or Option on a Mac, whichever one you're using. So holding Alt and click in between the two layers you want to connect. This is called clipping. You get this little arrow showing you if you did it right. So here's an example. These layers are clipped to this layer right here. So let's try that. Holding Alt or Option on a Mac and clicking in between the two layers. Let's try this. Go over here. If you want to pause and kind of get your stuff in order first before trying this, that's what the video is for. But I'm going to hold Alt on my keyboard and I'm going to move my mouse in between the two layers. See how my mouse changed right there? So I want to be right in between the two layers. I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to click right there. So now this adjustment layer is clipped to the dragon. You can see that little arrow right there. It's kind of small, but it's pointing to the dragon. So now when I change the brightness slider, it only affects the dragon. So I'm going to brighten this up, good amount here, and now it looks like it fits the ground a little bit. It's kind of the same shade of red as the ground. So that's looking really cool, looking a lot better. So try brightening up or darkening one of your layers to make it fit with your background by trying the brightness and contrast adjustment layer. I'm going to do the same thing with this guy down here. I'm going to darken him up so he looks like he fits a little bit better. So I'm going to go to click on his layer, which is right here. Go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Brightness and Contrast. Hit OK. First I'm going to clip it, so I'm going to hold Alt and click in between the two layers so that I can bring the brightness down and darken it. See that? So now he looks like he's like in the shadows there a little bit, and that makes a lot more sense. Okay. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to do one more adjustment layer. I'm going to show you how to change the color of something. So let's change the color of this purple sky to be a little bit more red, if you will, so it makes it match the ground a little bit. I go down here, here's my sky. I actually replaced my sky from the original sky of this background, so I need to change the color of it. I cut out the sky and replaced it, so if you have a picture that allows you to cut out the sky and change the sky, it works the same way as you are cutting out your objects. Cut out the sky, put a new sky behind it. But I'm going to go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and this time I'm going to choose Hue and Saturation because I want to change the color of it. Let's check this out and see what it does. Go here and hit OK. But let's notice something. This is specifically for my project, so it's a little different. If we look here, the Hue and Saturation layer, the only thing that's below it is the sky. So I actually don't need to clip it because there's nothing else below it. It's only going to affect the sky because there's nothing else below it, just the sky. So what I'll do is change this little hue slider and change the color of it. Check it out. Go this way, it's going to be more blue. Go this way, it's going to be more red. Pretty cool, huh? So you can change the color of anything. I might even change the color of this planet eventually to be a little bit more red than orange. But for right now, so this video is not too long, we're going to repeat this and we're going to try this at all the things that we just did here in Photopea and see how it translates. Alright, so let's go back to the internet window and go over to Photopea. Alright, so let's give this a shot. Actually, let me full screen this so we can see it a little bit better. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, let's brighten up the dragon. See how we did that before? Let's try that again. Click on the dragon, go over to Layer, new adjustment layer, brightness and contrast. Exactly the same way. Okay, so here's our sliders. It's in a little different spot there, but there they are. And if I crank up the brightness, you're going to see that's going to affect everything, right? But let's see if clipping works the same way. All right, I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm going to click in between the two layers. We got that little arrow again, so there it is. It works exactly the same way. So I'll go ahead and finish brightening up my dragon so that it fits, and there we go. Let's try to darken up this dinosaur down here like we did before. So I'll go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Brightness and Contrast again. Make sure we clip it, hold Alt, and click. All right, and bring the brightness down. Here we go. Let's try to change that sky. See if we can repeat that. So here's my sky. Click on that because that's the layer I want to change. I'm gonna go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and Hue and Saturation. So let's change the hue, make it a little bit more on the red side. You can see that that part's getting a little yellow because it wasn't all one color. So it wasn't all purple. Let's go back to the original. We have a little purple and a little pink. So the pink is going to change too, and it's going to get a little closer to orangey yellow as we go to the right. But that's okay. There we go. And it's looking pretty good, just like our Photoshop. So let's get out of full screen here, compare the two. There's the edits in Photopea, there's the edits in Photoshop. So whichever one you're using, give some adjustment layers a try today, and I'll be back on Friday so we can take this to the next level and continue editing our project to make it look like it all comes together. So we'll continue to go through the notes on our Schoology page. If you want to go ahead, you are more than welcome to. We're going to talk about blending shadows on Friday, so tomorrow from the time that you're watching this, and so that's going to be our next step. But if you want to go ahead, feel free. But this is going to be a separate lesson. Maybe I'll even make a separate video if you guys liked this one. So but that's it for today. Give that a shot with the time that we have in class, and I will see you guys soon. Have a good one, and have fun with it.